A little longer than a few minutes later.
Does this kind of morning sound and look all familiar to you? And despite all the videos and advice you try to take on, you still find yourself in this very situation. Yeah, this was definitely me for a very long time until I broke away from this vicious cycle. And this is why I would like to share what I found with you. This isn't the first, and it certainly won't be the last video on this topic. But the difference is I would like to share with you a fresh perspective by providing you with answers that are scientifically supported and methods that are realistic and achievable. Despite of what you may have heard, there isn't any shortcuts or hacks to waking up early or sleeping well. And the first hard-hitting truth that I want to disclose with you is that by luck, some of you will find these changes a lot easier to achieve. But that doesn't mean that no one can make a massive difference to their situation. What I mean by this will become a lot more clearer throughout the video. There are two main questions that I try to address in this video. Firstly, is it even important, or do we even need to wake up early? This was the very first question I asked myself. But jokes aside, it's still a very valid question. Secondly, if you do decide it is important for you to wake up early or improve your quality of sleep, how do you go about doing this? To answer the first question, we first need to face the truth that the world is most compatible with those who wake up early. For most of us, our crucial commitments and responsibilities start earlier on the day. That may be work or school. Before we continue, let me just say that although this video is targeted for those who want to or need to wake up early, this is also a video to anyone who wants to improve their quality of sleep. You don't want to be that guy, so please do share this video. So we have established a crucial point here that for most of us, we have to wake up early, or we face the horror consequences of late nights and early starts. You may also notice that throughout the video I never mention a specific time that you should target or try to wake up to, because this is the crucial part for this to work for you. Every individual has specific and different goals, therefore needing different adjustments. For example, someone with a sleeping disorder would have different adjustments to make then as opposed to someone who is been stuck in a bad sleeping pattern of late nights and early starts. Some of you may be further away from your goals than others. For example, some of you may be waking up in good time to make it to their first commitment, but want to wake up earlier to do more things in the morning. Some of you may be just really struggling to get up on time to make it to your first commitment, and you're not having the sufficient amount of sleep to make it throughout the day. I feel the best advice considers all cases. No one can decide what time is best for you to get up. That is something that you have to come to your own conclusion. But what I would say is that if you're already making this change, why not try to really maximize the rewards of it? And how do you do that? Is by allowing yourself to have enough time in the mornings to do things that you wouldn't have time for and energy later. You come home after a long day of work, you're feeling a bit tired, but you suddenly remembered that you needed to go to the gym after work. You go reach your clothes that you see, but suddenly you have other plans.
One eternity later.
Don't get me wrong, watching a bit of Netflix is needed sometimes, but why not allow yourself to do both? The times that I felt most fulfilled with my day was the times where I would allow myself enough time in the mornings to work on my passions, my goals, and my chores and get them done first thing off in the morning. You may be asking, why the mornings? The reasons are quite simple. The mornings have enabled to have more focus and less distractions. They are some of the most quiet and most peaceful times of the day. Most people are unconscious, so even if they wanted to be a distraction, they can't. It's not surprising, but the literature shows that morning people are more likely to take on healthier choices than other types of people. And that kind of makes sense because, let's be real, most things that happen at night are not necessarily the most productive and healthy choices. There are some great health benefits to getting things done early in the morning. The most obvious is that you're hitting your goals and chores more consistently than as opposed to trying to do them later on, where you're more likely to have less time and energy for them. And I think it goes without saying that the most important, or one of the most important elements to improvement and growth is consistency. Have you heard mornings can either make or break your day? And this is actually quite true. The way that you feel in the mornings can heavily dictate what kind of day you'll end up having. If you wake up late in the mornings, you are likely to start off highly stressed and rushed, and then you get to work late, and then because you're so stressed, then you make more mistakes at work, and then so on, and it's just a snowball effect to your rest of your day. For example, research shows that people that are stuck in the morning traffic or the rush hours, they're more likely to have higher levels of stress. You can't control the traffic, but you can control what time you wake up in the morning to allow yourself to have enough time. Moving on to the second main question of this video that offers the more practical side on how you can actually make these changes and improve your quality of sleep. Remember how I said I'll come to this point that I raised earlier about how for some of you these changes would be easier. Now, I want you to pay attention closely to the following part because there are two scientific terms that I would like to introduce to you that will perfectly answer this question. Those two terms are circadian rhythm and chronotype. Why? Circadian rhythm are 24-hour cycles that are part of your body's internal clock that play a key role in human physiology by precisely regulating your sleep and your wake periods, your appetite, your current moods, your cognitive function, and many other functions. A chronotype is a person's circadian typology, or the individual differences in activity and alertness in the evening and morning. Essentially, what this means is that your circadian rhythm is responsible for your body process. In this case, it would be sleep, and your chronotype is responsible for when your body prefers to be restful or alert. You may have heard of the terms night owl and early birds, which are essentially chronotypes, but they aren't the formal names that are commonly used in the scientific literature. The ones that are, they are called morning, evening, and neither, which essentially is as simple as the other terms. Your chronotype is determined by several factors such as your environment, your age, your gender, and a lot of genetics. So fortunately for some of you, it's much easier to make this shift towards mornings than others. But fortunately though, most people fit in the neither chronotype. So that means that your body is more flexible to different sleep patterns. And you can also bank on age as your chronotype shifts towards morning as you get older. Furthermore, there are ways for evening types to manipulate their sleep rhythms to suit early mornings. So I highly recommend you go and find your chronotype so that you're fully aware what angle to approach. I will be leaving links to free websites that will help you calculate your chronotype. We can manipulate our sleep rhythms by an interesting term called Zeitgebers, which comes from the German words for time giver. Zeitgebers are external cues that help synchronize our circadian rhythm. Such cues are physical exercise, and the most significant ones are darkness and light. Luckily, we're able to control our light exposure. So a good way to go about this is by ensuring that as soon as we wake up, we are exposing ourselves to as much sunlight as possible and limiting light exposure closer to bedtime. To what extreme? That depends on your chronotype. For example, evening types would have to ensure that they are limiting their light exposure much earlier than other types. Talking about how light exposure helps regulate circadian rhythms for sleep, I will go over a list of practical ways that will help you achieve waking up earlier or getting better quality sleep. First on the list, we have gradually shifting your sleep and waking time by 15 to 30 minutes every few days to your ideal wake time to allow your body to adjust. If you've been waking up at 10 a.m. and going to bed at 2 a.m. for some time and you're hoping to get up at 5 a.m., it will require an extra few days to get there, as trying to wake up 5 a.m. in the morning right away would not work out so good. I promise, I've tried it, would not recommend. Eliminating or reducing any possible sleep disturbances or disorders such as sleep apnea. If you suspect anything unusual about your sleeping habits, just make sure to go see a healthcare professional who can check if any sleep disorder is the reason behind. You can also check online that your sleeping position is okay for your body and it helps you sleep, and if not, just adjust it. Lastly, ensuring that your room is dark, so make sure that you have light-proof curtains. Priming your body for sleeping and waking up, so that could be avoiding caffeine after midday, having lighter and earlier meals to ensure proper digestion before sleeping, limiting light exposure such as electronic screens before bedtime, and the opposite, getting plenty of light as soon as you wake up. Use of alarms. Studies show that rough and high-pitched alarms can cause elevated levels of stress and morning grogginess, so having soft-sounding alarms can make a difference. Also, having your alarm clock a fair distance away from your bed is useful, as it would ensure you will get out of bed to turn it off, in comparison to easily snoozing your alarm and falling back to sleep if your alarm is by your bed. As you may have seen an idiot do that at the beginning of this video. Doing something fun and rewarding in the morning. It could be treating yourself to 30 minutes of gaming or drinking your favourite coffee. The mornings are generally not a period of the day that most look forward to, so having something fun planned in the morning can change this and be an added motivation to getting out of bed. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there isn't any shortcuts or hacks to waking up early or getting good quality of sleep, but with consistency, patience and self-adjustments, I promise you, you will see changes. I want to elaborate one more time the importance of self-adjustments. Yes, these are all useful ideas that I think would be helpful for most people, but for this to really work, you need to figure out what works and what doesn't for you. Aim for a goal that will make you feel the happiest with yourself. You don't need to feel like you need to wake up at 4 a.m. to swim the English Channel, build a business and clear the entire house by 5 a.m. because of what some people have tried to portray to you. So this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for making it to the end. I appreciate you as always. I hope the information of this video has been really useful for you. And please leave any comments or questions that you have. I want to get this community going. I want to start a conversation. So please do. So until then, this has been Aumento. Subscribe please and share. And I dare you to catch those mornings. I dare you.